Y'all, we're making low-carb pizza crust again. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the random web series where we find and test the best low-carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're tackling low-carb pizza crust yet again. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. Your eyes don't deceive you. You are here for part 3 of this epic low-carb pizza crust battle. Now, if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes, I'm gonna leave a link to them up here. We've done chicken crust, we've done carnivore crust, we've done fathead crust, we've done almond crust. Lots of different options, but I had to expand this even further to a 3rd episode to take care of some of the suggestions that you've put down in the comments below. So today we're going to tackle keto pizza crust, and this is by blackthiekitchen.com. The second one is best cauliflower pizza crust recipe that won't fall apart. This is by Chef Buck at MyFoodChannel.com. And then lastly is crispy low carb pizza by Caroline's Keto Kitchen, and that probably has a little bit of a secret ingredient there. So before we begin, I need to give a huge thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring this video. Green Chef is a USDA certified organic company that makes eating well easy and affordable with meal plans to fit every kind of lifestyle. Now, for me, I choose their keto meal plan, but they also have delicious dishes for a variety of lifestyles, including vegan, vegetarian, paleo, and again, keto for us folks. What's nice is on a busy weekday, when your eyes start to wander over to the takeout menus, it's nice to have a fridge full of delicious meals that are ready to go. Now, the recipes are usually quick and easy, and there's a step-by-step instruction guide. You get a card with chef tips and photos to sort of guide you along the way. And what's nice is you really learn how to combine flavors and textures that you probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise, that you can then take and use in other dishes that aren't from Green Chef. It really sort of expands your repertoire of recipes. Now, this is the shrimp Caesar salads. This is a very popular choice that we make because it is so good. I would have never thought about putting butternut squash and hazelnuts with shrimp and kale, but it is so delicious. We love it. Now, right now, Green Chef is offering you guys a fantastic deal. It's going to be here on the screen. Use the link on the screen and in the video description below. You can get $90 off across your first 5 boxes and free shipping on your first box. So go to greenchef.us/highfalutin90 and use code highfalutin90 to get $90 off your first 5 boxes and free shipping on that first box. Guys, this is a fantastic way to test and try out Green Chef. It has made eating well easier for me, and I can vouch for how delicious their meal plans are. So Green Chef, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. It's sponsorships like yours that keep channels like mine on the air, and I really appreciate that. All right, let's go make some pizza. Now, let's get started on our first recipe. This is Keto Pizza Crust by blackthiekitchen.com. And if you're a regular here, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm not going to give you exact measurements. These are not my recipes. I'm just here to test these recipes. The people that did do the hard work, they deserve the traffic. So I'm going to ask you to go to the links down here on the screen. They'll also be in the video description below and in the pinned comment below. Go check out these channels. They're the ones who did the hard work, and they deserve the traffic. So we're just here to test these, and we're going to rate all of these like we did in the last recipe battles by the 3 T's: taste, texture, and time. Does it taste good? Is the texture good? And is it worth the time and effort to make the recipe? Now, I'm just gonna say, after you watch this video, watch this first and then go to blackthiekitchen.com. His channel is on YouTube, also Black Thai Kitchen. Guys, he is hysterically funny. I don't know how I've missed him, but apparently I have. But oh my gosh, so entertaining. I hope his keto pizza crust is as good as his videos are. So we're gonna test that now. But before we do that, I need to rewind to yesterday because this takes a little bit of time. So we're gonna start by feeding some yeast. So this is instant yeast and a little bit of water and a very little bit of sugar. I know, scary, scary words, but the yeast is gonna eat the sugar, and this is really just a very minuscule amount of both sugar and yeast. So this is gonna work. We're gonna let the yeast form. We're gonna let the yeast eat the sugar and form itself, and then we're gonna start with our dry ingredients. And this is almond flour, coconut flour, and then vital wheat gluten. And we'll talk a little bit more about this. I know that might be scary for some of you, so if you have a gluten allergy or a wheat allergy, this recipe is not for you, but we'll talk about this again. So almond flour, coconut flour, wheat gluten. We're also gonna add in a little bit of salt, and I'm gonna sift this together. Of course, he doesn't say to sift it, but you know me, I'm gonna sift. And then all of this is combined after the yeast has done its job. And then we're gonna knead this out on a board. And then it's gonna go into an oiled bowl. And we're gonna put it in an oven with the light on for about an hour to let the yeast proof. And then I'm gonna wrap it tightly and store it in the fridge overnight. And then that brings us back to today. Here is our dough, and it smells so yeasty and wonderful. And now we've got to do exactly what you think by getting this onto, look at that. Ooh, that looks so good. Getting this onto a pie pan, a pizza pan. So let's just roll this guy out. All right, so now we've got to get this onto a pizza pan, and because so many of you mentioned it, I purchased a pizza pan with holes in it. I don't know if you can see it, but it does have holes. It kind of gets things a little crispier, so we're going to try working with this. But this has got to go on here without breaking up. So, okay. Nice. And then let's just give it a little, pinch a little edge on it. And hopefully this new pan will crisp things up. And I just want to thank, I had a viewer send me a pizza stone. So thank you to Linda Ward for sending me a pizza stone. That is so very awesome. I haven't gotten it yet, so I can't use it for these recipes. And truth be told, I think it's a little unfair now at this point to use a pizza stone for the third of this series if I didn't on the first two. Like I said, I followed recipes exactly as they are written. I feel like it's the only fair way to do it, and none of them specifically called for a pizza stone. But he does specifically call for a very open-aired, it's like a wire screen pizza pan, but I don't have one of those. I do have this one that has air holes in it, so we're going to try this. So now normally for the other recipes we were par baking these. We would pre-bake this, but this is we're gonna go ahead and put our sauce and cheese on now, and then we're gonna bake it at 450 degrees. So let me get the stuff for the toppings and we'll go right from there, okay? All right, so this is gonna go into a very hot oven, 450, and then we are gonna check on this at about 7 minutes, and based on the toppings, we'll base it how long we're gonna cook it. So I'll meet you right back here, and we'll test this one, all right? All right, guys, so we are back, and look at how beautiful this is. I can't believe it. That is amazing. So I have taken it off of the perforated pan and let it cool here on a cooling rack so that it can hopefully be as crispy as it can. And now let's just cut into this guy and see what we think. Ooh la la. Okay. Now, I lost my pepperoni in the middle. All right, that looks really good. It smells delicious. You can definitely smell the yeast And let's pick it up. It survives the flop test, kind of. Oops, I wanted to show you the other side of it so you can see. If I had used his little pan that he had that was more of a screen, a pizza screen, we probably would have gotten it a little crispier than we did. But let's see what it tastes like. And it's still really warm. Wow. Okay, so that is really good. You can definitely taste the yeast, really strong yeast flavor. He says you don't have to let it rest in the fridge for 24 hours, but that does help develop the gluten that you can just let it proof for 45 minutes and cook it. But I did let it rest in the fridge overnight. Okay, good job, Dennis. I'm gonna say for taste, texture, and time. For taste, I like the yeasty flavor, so I'm gonna give this a 7. There's a great taste there. For the texture, I'm also gonna give it a 7. I feel like that I wanted it a little crispier, and again, I probably, I can't buy one of every single pizza pan in the world, so I didn't have a pizza screen, so I'm sorry, my friend, but I did use a perforated pan. I want it to be a little crispier, but I do like the tear and the pull that the gluten, vital wheat gluten gives, but that's something that you're gonna have to decide yourself if you want to eat gluten on a keto or low carb diet. That's something that I can't decide for you. And for time, I'm gonna give this, I'll go with a 7. It wasn't that difficult putting it together. If you had to wait overnight to do it, although that's inactive time, that's not active cooking time, it does, if you want pizza tomorrow, you got to think about it today. If you want pizza today, you had to think about it yesterday. So think about that. So all in all, this was very, very good. Just decide if wheat gluten is something that you can eat or want to eat, and give it a shot. This was fantastic. All right, on to our next one. All right, guys, so we're back now for our second recipe, and this is the best cauliflower pizza crust recipe that won't fall apart, and this is by Chef Buck at MyFoodChannel.com, and a lot of you people requested this. Now, I'll be very honest with you, I haven't had a whole lot of luck over the years with cauliflower crust pizza. It's just not something that really toots my horn, to say the least. But we're gonna try it because so many of you requested it, specifically his recipe, and some just specifically a cauliflower recipe. So we're gonna start with fresh cauliflower, and we gotta grate this into small pieces. So I can't find my box grater, so I'm gonna use the grating blade on my food processor. So we're gonna grate this until we get 2 cups of it, and then it can't be stems, just the florets. And then we're gonna put that in a skillet over medium heat for about 10 minutes. No oil, no water, just keeping that moving to dry that out. Instead of cooking it, steaming it, or microwaving it and trying to wring out the moisture, we're gonna do it in a pan and dry it over that way. So I'm gonna do that now, and we'll be back here just as soon as all of that's done, and we can continue on with the rest of the recipe, okay? So let's make some cauliflower. All right, guys, so we're back, and as you can see, I have cooked this cauliflower in a dry skillet, non-stick skillet, for about 10 minutes until it dried out, and now it has just been cooling on this plate. So from here, it's pretty easy. And the whole house smells like poots, as you can imagine. Whew. I love cauliflower, but gosh, it stinks when it's cooking. So from here, we're gonna just beat an egg in a large bowl, and to this, we're gonna add a little bit of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. You definitely want something, a hard cheese. This is not the place for mozzarella or anything like that. So mix your cheese and your egg together. And now we're gonna add our cauliflower to make our dough. So this is 2 cups of the cooked cauliflower. Get out of the way. All right, now we've just gotta pull this together into some sort of dough. Now he said he had tried this with 2 eggs and it was just too eggy, that 1 egg was perfect, and that you didn't need any seasoning because, as rightly so, the Parmesan cheese is pretty salty in and of itself. So once you've got this, we're going to go onto a parchment lined sheet. He doesn't say to preheat it. The oven is preheated, but the sheet is not. And he doesn't call for a pizza stone. So put this out, and this needs to be about a 10-inch round, and it needs to be about a 1/4 of an inch thick. So using your hands, we're going to pat this out. The egg is what's going to hold this together, and he's pretty adamant that the edges do not need to be really thin because that's going to burn. So keep gathering it until it looks roughly pizza shaped. All right, so this guy is going to go into a 400-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes until this brown firms up and gets some nice color on it. And then we're going to come back here and we're going to build out the pizza and we'll test it from there. All right, so I'll see you in just a bit. Our cauliflower crust has baked for about 20 minutes and it's held up pretty well, I've got to say. So now we're just going to build this pizza out, and then it's going to go in the oven for 10 minutes until the toppings are done. I'm going to take it out, take it off the paper, let it cool on a cooling rack, and then we're going to taste it. So let's build this out now, and I'll see you in just a little bit. All right, guys, so we're back, and this has been out of the oven now for about 5 minutes. It's cooled. It looks beautiful. I was able to move it to a cooling rack, but I can tell you now that I can feel it. It's gonna be precarious to slice. So let's see if we can get it off of here so that I can actually cut it and taste it. All right. So let's give this a slice. Yeah. Looks a little bit floppy. It's still rather warm. Okay, so this cooked for quite a while, right? 30 minutes just without counting the cauliflower. Okay, so if this were a larger piece, you can see it would probably kind of flop over. If you look at the bottom side, it's nicely browned though. And let's see what it tastes like. Okay. As I remembered, it's okay. It's not my favorite. It is not bad. It is not a bad pizza. You can definitely still feel the softer texture of the cauliflower, and it still kind of tastes a little bit like cauliflower, but it's also extra nutrients than some of the other pizzas we've made. A lot of empty calories. You know, there's some benefits to this. If I were gonna rate this, the 3 T's for taste, I'm gonna give it a 5. It's not bad, it's not great, it's right in the middle. We've talked about adding some garlic powder, onion powder, some Italian seasoning would have really helped it to just sort of kind of ditch some of its cauliflower-iness. For texture, I'm gonna give it a 5. It holds up, but once it's in your mouth, the grains of cauliflower still sort of tease apart, so that your final, right before you swallow, it kind of feels like cauliflower rice, like riced cauliflower. That's not a bad thing, but so there it is. And for time, to be quite honest, I'm going to give this a 4. You had to grate the cauliflower. You had to cook it in a skillet for 10 minutes, and that wasn't, that was active cooking. You had to be stirring it or it's going to burn. Then you had to build the pizza and cook it for 20 minutes. And then you had to build the pizza and cook it for 10 minutes. So you're at 40 minutes of cook time for a pizza. And that's just, I don't know. I'm not a huge cauliflower crust fan. I love cauliflower. You guys know that I use that in a lot of recipes. But it just ain't for me, dog, as they would say. I would not turn this down if it were offered for me or cooked for me, but I wouldn't probably make it of my own volition. So there you go. All right, so we've got one more pizza left, and this one is coming up right now. So let me get cleaned up, and I'll meet you right back here, okay? We're almost done. See you in a bit. All right, guys, so we're back now. We're almost there. This is our last recipe, and this is a crispy low-carb pizza by Caroline'sKetoKitchen.com. And I said this had a little bit of a secret ingredient in it, and I guess you can call it a secret. This is one you guys have requested a lot. It's lupin flour. And I've had this for a while and haven't broken it out yet to try it. There are a lot of mixed feelings on the internet about lupin flour and keto. It's obviously a bean, a legume, so if you're allergic to peanuts or nuts, you might want to steer clear. It's very low carb, but because it is a legume, there is some concern over anti-nutrients and inflammation, just like the wheat gluten. So I'm not going to get on either side of that fence. That's for you to decide. If you don't want to eat lupin flour, don't make this recipe. If you don't want to eat vital wheat gluten, don't make the first one. This is our third video, so there are tons of other options, but we're going to try it now. So let's start this. Again, this is Caroline'sKetoKitchen.com. Basically, this is a fathead recipe substituting lupin flour for the nut flour or the pork rinds that we've used in the past. So we're going to start with some shredded mozzarella cheese, and I'm going to melt this, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got this nicely melted, and we need to move pretty quickly here. To this, we're going to add a couple of beaten eggs, and get out of the way. And now here, I'm going to add in some lupin flour, right? I'm gonna sift it. She didn't say to, but I'm gonna. This is xanthan gum. This is baking powder. Again, if you want to know how much, check the link on the bottom of the screen. And finally, a little bit of oregano and garlic powder. I'll add that in just a moment. Let's get this sifted out. And then our flavorings. So bring this together into a dough. If it gets hard to stir, you're gonna have to put it back in the microwave. She said this would be hard to do, and it kind of is. And truthfully, she also said it doesn't look great or smell great. And I see what she means. The lupin flour definitely has a very earthy, it almost smells like soil, or I don't like good soil. I don't mean that bad, but it definitely has a super earthy flavor, scent. She specifically says to do it on parchment paper. Pull this out of the bowl. Wet your hand just a little bit and make this into a flat crust. So this is going to go in the oven, 350 degrees, and there's a little bit to this. Bake it for 9 minutes, take it out and poke it with a fork. Bake it for 9 more minutes. Take it out and flip it over. Put it under the broiler for a few minutes until the top is browned. Take it out, flip it back over so it's back the original way, and then build the pizza on top of it, and then bake it for a few more minutes. So I'm gonna do all that now. We'll be right back here and test this, and I'll let you know what I think of lupin flour. All right? See you in just a bit. All right, guys, we are back now with our final pizza, and this guy is beautiful too. It turned out really well. I was able to get it off of the parchment paper for it to cool on a rack. And now let's just see what this guy tastes like. Can we get him off of here? And I'm gonna cut this oddly because I want to, ooh, it's holding up pretty well. The odor of the unusual odor did go away. This is my first time eating lupin flour, so I'm actually curious how this is gonna turn out. Come loose of there now. I'm cutting it weird because I want to cut a single piece for my thumbnail. Okay. Now, here's what it looks like. Let's do the flop test. Ooh, it holds up really well. And look at the bottom side, nice and dark. And that's because she had us flip it, right? She told us to flip it. Okay, how does it taste? Okay, so that was interesting. It still has a little bit of the earthy flavor. It's very mild. It's not off-putting at all. It did hold up well, as you can hear. It's pretty crispy, and I gotta say it held up well. Okay. Taste. I'm gonna give this 7. There needs to be a little bit more flavor for me. I can definitely slightly taste the lupin flour, but it's, like I said, not off-putting. For texture, I'm gonna give this an 8. I would even go 8.5. I'm not doing 0.5s, but I would even go 8.5. It's not quite the exact texture of a real quote-unquote pizza, but it's doggone close, and it really held up well to that. I mean, as you can hear it when it hit. And for time, I mean, that was really super quick. So an 8, right? So, yeah, there you go. That was pretty interesting. Like I said about the lupin flour and the vital wheat gluten, that's a decision you're going to have to make. You know, this channel is Highfalutin low carb. We do make keto recipes sometimes. We make low carb recipes sometimes. And sort of like, I guess you could say, all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. So it is that all keto recipes are low carb, but not all low carb recipes are keto. Because there's a lot of different versions of clean keto, strict keto, whether you're eating for weight loss or for inflammation. Lots of things there that I'm not qualified to talk about. So that's between you and your nutritionist and Jesus. So you figure that out. So, all right, low carb pizza crust. Yes, it can be done. And I've just given you, over the last 3 episodes, 9 different options that are all good, some better than others. But have we hit the holy grail yet for the perfect crust? I don't think so, but I think a lot of people will be satisfied with a lot of these options. So there you have it, folks. I say it every time. These videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking in the end of that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. So I appreciate that you have come along for the journey. I need to give a huge thank you again to Linda Ward. Thank you so much for sending me the pizza stone. I can't wait to use it and make some of these recipes with that. And I will actually share some of those and how it turns out on the pizza stone on my Instagram and on my Facebook. So be sure to go check me out there. I can sort of talk more frequently and more freely there. It's Highfalutin Low Carb in both Instagram and on Facebook. So be sure to check me out there. Also, be sure to hit the like button down below. That lets the YouTube algorithm know that this is a video that they should share with other people. So be sure you hit the like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. So I need to give another huge thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring this video. Guys, Green Chef is giving you a fantastic deal right now. Be sure to use the link here on the screen. There'll be a link down below as well. It's greenchef.us/highfalutin90 and use code highfalutin90 to get $90 off across your first 5 boxes and free shipping on that first box. So that's a great way to try some delicious food that is easy to prepare and will teach you a lot about how to combine wonderful flavors and tastes. I love them. So thank you so much, Green Chef, for sponsoring this. Also, you'll see the names here on the side. These are my Patreon members, and these are the rock stars. Without these guys, this channel wouldn't be able to make it. So I really want to thank them for supporting me. If you don't know what Patreon is, I always say it's like the tip jar for the internet. It allows people like you who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube. You can give $1 or $2 a month just to sort of keep the train on the tracks, as it were. So all these guys are true rock stars in my eyes, and I really appreciate it. So join me over there on patreon.com. And otherwise, I think I'm gonna do one more dun, 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 pizza video. I'm gonna do one more pizza video, and it's gonna be deep dish. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll see you very soon. All right, I love you. Bye-bye.